Hi guys, okay, so I thought I'd do a bit of an update video on where I'm at, how I'm feeling. Otherwise I get lots of messages and then it's hard to keep up, so I just thought I'd do a video and then it makes it easier, doesn't it? So it was probably about a week or so ago when I last did a message, and we went to Butlins and stuff, and I also did some BBC radio interviews this week, which was new, and I put them on this channel as well. So you can have a look at that, you can see what I did there. All new stuff. I'm still trying to get stuff done on the house. Those of you that follow me on social media know that I am moving house, and that's all. It's kind of it's a good thing, but it means I've got to get in amongst all mine and Ross's stuff and clear things out and go through things, which has its pros and cons, because it's reality, it's kind of facing reality, but then equally obviously it makes me feel sad at times when I'm going through things. I'm actually just signing for a new car, which is good, it's fun, but again it's something new, and it's something new for the kids, and it's all lots of fresh start, new things that it's like a double-edged sword, isn't it? Yes, it's good because it's forward thinking, but equally, you know, it's like saying Ross isn't here. So yeah, I've been okay. You know, the last week I've been pretty good, not in denial good, like okay. I've had a laugh, I've spoken to good people. I mean, the girls have been okay. The girls are heightened, quite heightened, so the last few days have been particularly tricky with the girls, mostly Brooke, and it's just, I mean, it's so obvious, it's so what I would really expect, but she just heightened and not really knowing how to express her emotions. Although yesterday when I spoke to her, she actually described perfectly how she felt, and she just said, I've got all these things in my head, and I'm going up to Newcastle, and I'm doing this, and I'm going to soft play tomorrow, and I'm doing this, and I've got things to think about, and I just feel like they're all in my head. And I said, so Brooklyn, and you word yesterday, which was overwhelmed. So now she's just telling people, which is really sweet and cute, that she feels overwhelmed at the minute. And I'm like, Brooke, mate, I hear you, I feel it too, and that's a perfectly reasonable, normal feeling to be having right now, because it is overwhelming and there is a lot of things to think about. So we're just, you know, the girls, it's a little bit challenging over the last few days, but we'll get there, and it's nothing that we can't handle, and we'll work it out. Yeah, one of the other things I wanted to sort of touch on is that a comment that was made to my mother-in-law by a perfectly well-meaning person, I don't even know who it was, but they said, so does Holly ever cry? Or stuff, and was surprised that I do, because obviously that person maybe sees me on here, or maybe even meets me in person and hears me talk openly about stuff, and maybe I'm not crying. And I was discussing this with a friend of mine, Jess, who lost both her parents very suddenly, and she's the most amazing person in the world. Like, she's amazing, and if Jess does watch this, because she might, you're amazing. Like, she's a great person, and she's basically part of our family. And we were talking the other day, because she's a good friend and resource, and a good, you know, sensible person to talk to this kind of thing about, and we were just discussing how grief doesn't look like what you think it should look like. So grief doesn't look like, necessarily, it can, but it doesn't look like somebody no makeup on the floor, not washed, not eating, lying on the floor, like crying every single day, can't get up. It can look like that, but it doesn't always look like that. Sometimes grief looks like this, or it looks like laughter, or it looks like happiness. It doesn't always look like sadness. In the same way, when somebody's depressed, you know, we walk around every day and there's people that are dealing with deep depression, and yet somehow they're managing to function. It doesn't have to fit into a box that you think it has to fit into. So if you see me and I'm not crying, that doesn't mean that the turmoil isn't there. That doesn't mean that. It might be in that moment I'm not feeling sad. I don't have to feel sad every second of every day. And if I do that, then it's hard to get through the day. So it's just recognizing that, like, there isn't a right and wrong in grief. And those of you who are going through this and have messaged me, because I've had hundreds of messages, and I feel really privileged that you know, a lot of the people that have messaged me saying, I've never done this before, I've never messaged someone I don't know, and I feel really lucky that you've you know, whatever's I've spoken about has connected with you and helped you enough that you felt able to come and speak to me, because I would rather you did that than, you know, kept all your pain and suffering inside and you know, imploded. And those of you who have messaged, we've talked about the fact that you don't have to feel every feeling all at once. So you don't have to feel all the pain at once. So if you're doing something and it's absolutely you know, tormenting you to do it, and it's making you feel really, really sad, and you're not ready for all of that right at that moment, then just stop and do something else for a bit, and that's okay. And you don't have to do that. And someone else I spoke to was saying that their friend who was grieving for the loss of her husband had not wanted pictures taken of them being happy because they felt almost guilty about that, and that's not right. Like, there is no wrong. There's you know, there's no right or wrong. You've just got to go through it. I think the only thing I would say in terms of there being a right or wrong is trying to deny that there's anything happening, you know, just trying to not go through the process of grieving or acknowledge. I think acknowledging that the person isn't there is important, and I'm trying to do that because I'm trying to do that for the girls, which makes me have to do it for me as well. So I'm not, you know, I might talk about it very matter-of-factly. That doesn't mean that doesn't touch me in any way. In that moment I might be fine to talk about it, but I think just really acknowledging that Ross isn't here and that he's died is important for me, for it being real. And even though that's really painful, and even though that might not even show on my face as I'm saying this, my brain is readjusting to that fact. And I don't know, it's a whole lot of stuff, isn't it? And I want people to know that, you know, it just doesn't look like how you think it's supposed to look. And I don't know what I'm doing, but I just think if at least if I speak about it, then some of you might learn from it, and you might let yourself off the hook sometimes and not torture yourselves, and that's important. So I'm doing okay. You know, I'm off for a nice day this afternoon with the kids and some of my friends' kids, and we're all good. We're just taking it a bit at a time. And yeah, thanks for being nice and sending me messages and stuff, and yeah, speak to you all soon. Peace.